Everyone takes the limits of their own vision for the limits of the world. Arthur Schopenhauer. There is all around you right now the reflections of your world belief. They're so ever present that you don't even see them. All the assumption that you've made about the world, the things that are possible, what you're capable of, who you are, the very definition of what it means to be alive, all of it is completely invisible. And you're mistaking what you have for what could be. And once you break free of that, once you understand that right now you're a moment in time and that you have latent potential, and that latent potential can be expressed in the form of skills, that you can get good at things, that you can develop yourself in any direction, that brain plasticity alone is one of the greatest weapons that you're not using. But you have to move beyond what you can perceive today. You have to begin to look beyond that and see that which doesn't yet exist. And you have to remember that many of the things that are holding you down are rules that you don't even realize are rules. And as General Douglas MacArthur said, you're remembered for the rules you break. And right now, you're following rules that you don't even realize exist. And some of those rules are simply what is okay to dream. But I'm here to tell you, the power is in recognizing that you can do it. The power is in having the arrogance of belief. The power is in understanding that you, yes, you are going to be capable of something simply because you are willing to believe in yourself. And that's the thing, it's a willingness to believe in yourself. No one's gonna give it to you. Even the people that love you, they're not gonna give you that. They are incapable of giving it to you. People cannot see past their limitations, and they take them for truth. People actually believe the things that have stopped them will forever not only stop them, but they will stop other people. How can they hope to give you anything but limitation? So if you know that even the people that love you, what they're handing you is limitation with the best of intentions, with all the love in the world, how are you going to break out of that? How are you going to break past those rules? How are you going to fight the anxiety that inevitably comes your way when you think about going against the grain? But my friends, until you can do that, you can never get beyond the bullshit that limits you. If people said gravity is what it is, we never would have reached escape velocity. And yet, as a species, we have been able to hurl a rocket into space, get it outside of gravity, take us to other planets. That is real only because somebody said, I refuse to be held down by the most obvious rule that we have, the one that everybody says is beyond reproach, and that is gravity. But even gravity will break under the weight of a superior will. So recognize, as Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Can you be content to be thought foolish and stupid? Or do you allow yourself to be caged, to be hemmed in by what other people think? And look, I get it. I understand the sting of contempt. I understand how much it sucks when someone you respect doesn't respect you. But you cannot be anything more than their captive if you think about what they think about you. If you let yourself be defined by what other people perceive of as you, then you will forever be limited by what they give you permission to do. And I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I said, when I'm an adult, I will never be told what to do again. I will never be held back by somebody else. I will define myself. I will figure out what I need to do, and I will do it. And at the end of the day, that is it. My goals drive my behavior. I am not held back by what other people think about me, no matter how intoxicating it is to be loved. You have to decide what you want more. Do you want to be you, or do you want to be someone else's reflection of you?
If you follow any pursuit or endeavor, any form of conquest, sports, business, arts, culture, anything where human beings endeavor to perform better than other human beings, there's something called the law of averages, which is that there are people who are below the average, but the average person fits into this big bowl in the middle called average. Then you get this tiny little group of people at the top. My fascination has always been with the people at the top. Think about the world's fastest man of all time, Usain Bolt. So is Usain Bolt the world's fastest man because he's more talented than anybody else? Or is he the world's fastest man because he has a genetic advantage? Or is he the world's fastest man because he has the best training? Is he the world's fastest man because he has access to the most advanced science? Or is he the world's fastest man because of all of those, and he's only 1% better than everybody else? I learned that I didn't have to be 100% better than everybody else. I didn't even have to be 10% better than everybody else. I only had to be 1% better than everybody else at everything. Go watch Sean Roden when he won Mr. Olympia. I'll never forget, there's that shot of Sean Roden coming out and there's the light from the back and you see Sean Roden's waist this big and his shoulders that big and that beautiful arch up, right? Now, you're probably watching this going, why the hell was he talking about bodybuilding? Let me tell you why I love things like bodybuilders and athletes. It's because they have to train tens of thousands of hours to make that 1% improvement. That additional 1% is tens of thousands of hours more than the 99% of the people beneath you. So if you're busy studying for an exam, if you want to be right at the top of your pile, you got to make sure that you put in more hours. If you're training, you got to do that too. You're running a business, you got to be up earlier, sleep later, work harder when you're in it. So the top 1%, when they get there, they make it look effortless, which is the last thing I want to share with you. The curse of genius is it makes its gift look effortless. And so when you get to the top and you are that top 1%, one of the things you'll realize is people either won't recognize it, won't reward it, or won't give you your dues. Why? Because you make it look easy. If you're watching Usain Bolt run 100 meters, he makes it look easy. So you want to do it. So your task, look at the things you do, look at where you want to improve and just ask yourself, how much time are you putting in?
Look, human beings, we can't help ourselves but compare ourselves to others. And comparison is the deadliest thing we can do to ourselves because we will always come up short. And
Right.
all it does is exaggerate all of our insecurities. It's okay to enjoy other people's success, but you let them live their lives and you live your life. Oh, and by the way, they're curating their social media. That's not really their life. And so you're making decisions based on how you feel, based on their curated things. I know, I've talked to so many millennials. I know somebody who's out of work, really depressed, and yet she goes and does all these things so she has the appearance of this amazing, successful life. And so now she may be making those decisions based on what her friends, who knows what sort of weird, twisted, exaggerated, circle of depression this is forming. So go back to the rules of the infinite game. Your friends are there to admire. Your friends are there to say, God, I'm so happy for them. What are they doing that I can learn from? I'll give you an example. So we can all fall into this trap. So, in my business, authors and speakers and folks like us, we're all comparing ourselves to each other, and sometimes it can get silly and competitive. And there was, sometimes I go on Amazon and I check the rankings of my books to see that I still have a job. And now and then there was this one author who I hated for no reason. He's very smart. His work's incredibly good. He's incredibly well respected. I respect him, but I hate him. And I would check the rankings of his books. And when I was ahead, I'd be like, yes. And when he was ahead, I was like, right? It would drive me crazy. And I had this weird abstract competition. Same thing, right? Social media happened to be Amazon rankings.
Right.
And I would check in all the time. I'd always check in, mine, his, nobody else, just mine and his. Anyway, we were, I was at an event and we were interviewed together on the same stage. And the interviewer decided to let us introduce each other. So I went first. I had to introduce him. And this is what I said. I looked at him and I said, you make me very insecure. I said, because all of your strengths are all of my weaknesses. And every time I see you do well, it just reminds me what I'm bad at. That's how I opened up. He turned to me and he said, funny, I feel the same way about you. And now we love each other. Because I realized that he's really good at what I'm bad at. So by me getting to know him and really learning to love him, I'm realizing I'm getting better at those things. And I'm taking more pride in the things that I'm good at rather than thinking I have to be good at everything he's good at, right? So it's healthy to grow our own strengths and rather than be intimidated by the strengths of others.
I was raised in Harlem. My father was killed when I was 2, almost 3 years old. And then my mother, she had to figure it out and take over. She started working 4 jobs, and that's where I really learned my work ethic from. I would watch my mother get up in the morning. She would drive a school bus. Then she would go and work in a clothing store. Then she would go back, drive the school bus, come home and feed us. Then she worked with the United Cerebral Palsy, and she was a caretaker. And I never saw her sleep, you know? And it was just incredible. So when I was at the age of 12 years old, I wanted to step up.
And you were in Mount Vernon, then?
Yes, I was in Mount Vernon. I went from Harlem. She moved us to Mount Vernon because, you know, my father got killed, you know, in Harlem. And she just wanted a fresh start for us. And she made it happen and always figured out a way, out of no way, to send me to the best schools. And I identified that. I identified all of the sacrificing that she did. So when at 12 years old, I was like, I need to help out.
Every morning, you got to get up, you got to pick up that spear of purpose, you got to cast it as far as you can see it today. Throw that spear of purpose as far as you can today, as far as you can. And then your day is to go march towards that spear with so much commitment, so much discipline, so much resilience that then you get that spear, you get to throw it out as far as you can again. That is having the vision, and that is having the discipline to go get it. The interesting thing is you have to take that outside of your head. You probably have a clearer vision for what's important to you than your wife does, than your partner does, than your friends do, than your family does. And so a huge part of the vision principle is you've got to communicate it more. You got to help everybody see what that vision ends up being, where they participated or they didn't, depending on your timing. And now it's like, oh, this is the thing we're rallying around. This is the spear. I'm going to throw it. We're going to go together. Okay, great. Let's go. And that command of the vision is what I mean by the vision decision. It doesn't mean other people didn't participate in it, but you own it. You own it. The big part about it is your life's decisions, whether you are conscious or unconscious throughout your life's decisions were leading to a vision. And today's a good opportunity to say, is this the vision? Is this what I wanted? Or did I not know what I wanted? Did I just go along the ride with everybody else and do what everyone else told me my whole life? Or did I architect this? Was I thoughtful about what the decision was, what I was after? Today's a good day to look at the vision you have for your life and ask, does it match what your reality is today?
How bad do you want your goal right now? I think there's a lot of people in the world today, because it's a really niche thing to talk about, I want this is my outcome, this is my goal. Like, how bad do you want? Do you want it as bad as breathing? Do you want it as bad as anything you ever wanted in your life? And if you calibrate it at the highest enough levels, what I found is the people that are the hungriest, they find a way. When you know why you want something, when it's desperation, the power of being desperate is something that most people avoid. They think desperation is a weakness. And I'm here to tell you, desperation is one of the most powerful emotions you could possibly possess, because when you're desperate, you find reserves and reservoirs of ideas, talents, and a strength that you don't know you have when you find yourself in a desperate situation. So ironically, the one thing most people avoid in their life, hunger, which is caused by being desperate. When you're starving, you become desperate. Think of somebody who's starving on the street. They've got to, how resourceful would you get if your children were literally starving and you had to feed them, right? So the number one thing we need more than anything to win is hunger, which comes from a state of desperation. Yet we're constantly trying to comfort ourselves in the real world to avoid the state of being desperate. And I'm telling you that I think you need to embrace desperation again in your life. Like, do you want it so bad that you're desperate for it? See, in a fight, you show me two people. This is why it's so hard to repeat as a champion in the fighting game. Because you show me someone who's up and coming, who's hungry for that title, who's never had it before, who can taste it, who knows if they win that belt, their whole life's gonna change. They're gonna be champion of the world, all the endorsements, all the money, all their family life, all their parents' lives are gonna change. You show me somebody chasing that, hungry for it, against someone who's just trying to hold on to a title. And that's why most of the time the challenger beats the champ. It's hard to repeat as a champion because the hunger goes down just a little bit. The greatest athletes, the Kobes, the Bradys, the Jordans of sports, have a way of feeding their hunger all the time and increasing it. What separates them isn't just their work ethic, isn't just their talent, although those things matter, isn't just they practice more. What separates them is they're just hungrier. They somehow find a way as they climb up the ranks and win championships to get even hungrier for more, where 99% of the athletes lose just a little bit of their edge once they get that first championship, that first pro contract, that first big amount of money, that first world championship. They just lose their hunger a little bit. And then there's the elite. They get hungrier. It feeds the beast.
The stories acclaimed to Alexander the Great. It could be anyone. And I would, if that's not true, then I would just listen in and think of any great warrior or any great emperor or someone who achieved a lot in life. And so the story is of when he's on his deathbed. And when he's on his deathbed, it's said that he had 3 wishes. And those 3 wishes, when his ministers asked him what he wanted, was that he wanted him to be carried by all the doctors to his funeral. So he wanted his coffin and his body inside the coffin to be carried by all the doctors, the best doctors, to his funeral. The second thing is he wanted that path to be laid with everything that he'd gained in life, all the jewels, all the riches, all the money, everything. And the third thing he wanted was that he wanted his coffin to be left open so that you could see his hands on either side. Right? And the ministers looked at him and said, that is the most morbid thing in the world. Like, this is your last wish and those are your 3 wishes. And they said, why are they your 3 wishes? And Alexander the Great explained, he said that I want the best doctors in the world to carry my body because I want the world to see that even the best doctors in the world can't save you from death. He said, I want the path to my funeral to be laid with everything I've gained to show people that you can't take anything with you. And he said, I want my hands to be outside of the coffin to show that we come into this world empty-handed and we leave this world empty-handed. And that's one of my favorite stories, and what I try and imbibe in my videos and live by is that I believe that we all have a finite number of breaths and we all get an opportunity to make them count. And there's a beautiful thought by Maya Angelou where she said, people will forget what you did, people will forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And for me, that's what we've got. All of us have this limited amount of time, and all that's going to be remembered is how we made people feel. And so for me, my videos are all about how am I making people feel. If I can give people a feel of self-worth, a sense of personal growth, a sense of confidence, a sense of self-esteem, whatever it may be, I want to use my living time doing that.
As Steve Maraboli said, we all make mistakes, have struggles, and even regret things in our past. But you are not your mistakes, you are not your struggles, and you are here now with the power to shape your day and your future. And you've got to be careful about what future it is that you decide to shape. You have to be careful about the thoughts that you let inside your mind. So many people live their life by the law of accident, never grabbing hold of something with intention and deciding that that's what they're going to think about, deciding that these are the thoughts that they're going to allow in their mind, and intentionally rejecting other thoughts. But as Marcus Aurelius says, your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions. And that's why it's so critical that you decide the things that you're going to pursue mentally, that you decide what you're going to hold on to. And you have to make those decisions based on what you decide you want to become. But it all starts with that. It all starts with knowing what it is exactly that you want to become and recognizing the truth of the way that the human mind works. Whatever you repeat, you are going to become. If you repeat something empowering, you will become empowered. If you repeat something self-destructive, you will destroy yourself. But people don't act like that's true. People act like they are something, that the world is going to tell them who they are, and that once they have a vision of themselves, that they are simply recognizing the truth. But that's the lie. That is the great fallacy. That may be the greatest lie that we have ever believed, that we are somehow stuck in time, that we are somehow made, created, and like a pot of clay. The only thing left is to break and start over, but that's not how it works. The way that the human mind works, we are completely malleable, and we are shaped entirely by what we hold in our minds. So take control of that process. Decide who you want to become, and no matter how fake it feels at first, you've got to go down the process of repetition and shaping yourself the way that a sculpture creates that ultimate work of mastery. Piece by piece, bit by bit, day after day with intention, so that you can finally reveal what you want to be.
I want you to know something, that the bigger your dream is, I want you to understand the harder the grind. There, listen to me. Luck is for leprechauns, and you ain't green. No, I'm sorry, it's right here under the shirt. I'm gonna take the jacket off. I'm gonna show you. I have that one on today. Luck is for leprechauns, and you're not green. I'm gonna say it again. Luck is for leprechauns, and you're not green. I'm not bringing you a fairy tale. What I am telling you is that if you're willing to go beast mode, you can have whatever you want. I'm a living example. You can start from nothing. Start from nothing. You know the story. Mom was a teenage mom. Start with nothing. Grandma had 14 kids. Start with nothing. 2-bedroom house, 1 bathroom. Mom got kicked out because she had me. Start with nothing. Start with nothing. High school dropout. Start with nothing. Homeless. 12 years to get a 4-year degree from the university. Start with nothing. If you are willing to grind. Now I need you to do me a huge favor. You got to understand this. There are 2 ways to be successful. Right? And I don't subscribe to the first one. That's just natural talent. Right? And I just don't believe people who are naturally talented are better than me. I believe effort, and you've heard me say it. Your mama might come from privilege. Your daddy might come from privilege. Your daddy might own a company. You might come from privilege. You might have a father that can give you everything your little heart desires, but you will not outwork me. Why? Because I realize that the bigger the dream, and I need you to see who I have up there. Notice when I said beast mode now, I'm not talking about the lion. When I talk about beast mode now, I'm talking about the ant that's very small, but that can probably lift 100 times his weight. I'm saying that some of you in this room, you might not be a lion yet. Some of you in this room, you might be an ant. You might have small beginnings. You might not have a lot of money. You might not have a lot of resources, but there's no excuse. You said, E.T., I'm not that lion. You might be the ant, and the ant has very little, but he's determined. He's strong. He has a dream and a goal, and he'll do whatever it takes. And I need you to understand that the bigger your dream is, the earlier you're going to have to get up. The longer you're going to have to stay up. The bigger your dream is, the more effort you're going to have to put in. And for those of you who raise your hand and put up 70%, you'll never see it. You'll never see it. For those of you who are 70% beast mode, 30% gazelle. That's just enough for that other person to outdo you. That's just enough for, listen to me, that's just enough for the other person who wants just what you want. Okay, so let me say it like this, because I want to make sure you get it. All right, listen to me. I told you. I want you to think about those goals. I want you to taste them. I want you to internalize it. I'm not asking you to tell me what your goals are because I'm interested in hearing everybody in the room. I couldn't possibly do anything with it. Listen to me, this is what I'm telling you. I'm telling you to dream your dream because I want you to feel it. I want you to taste it. I want you to know how close. I want you, just like when the weather is changing, you can feel it. I want you to be able to feel when you're getting closer to it and closer to it. But more importantly, I want you to know when you dream your dream that there are other people who are dreaming the exact same dream. When you said to yourself, when the ball comes down, this is what I want to accomplish. You're not the only person that wants to accomplish it. And now I ask you this question. What do you do when 1,000 other people want exactly what you want? What do you do when you're not the only one that wants to make $1 million in your company? You're not the only one that wants to be the president. You're not the only one that wants to be the CEO. What if you're not the only one that wants what you want? What if there are thousands of other people who want what you want? You have to outwork them. You got to outgrind them. You got to get up earlier. You got to stay up later. You've got to execute, and you've got to go from 70 to 120.
Commitment is the key. The moment that you commit yourself, then all unforeseen incidents, people, things that can happen that are positive begin to come your way. And basically the whole thought was the fact that nothing comes to you until you commit yourself. Nothing comes to you if you're just going to try, but you're not committed. Nothing comes to you if you're just thinking about it. It's not until you take the action step. It's not until you take the direction do the things start to flow through you. That quote, I laminated and I carried it in my pocket for almost a year. And during the day, I would just have times where I would feel a little bit like, do I really want to keep doing this? And I would pull that quote out and I would read it and I'd put it back in my pocket, and it just gave me fuel for the day. And that fuel lasted until I got through that very difficult year of leadership, of which it was a turning point year. It was in that year that I began to understand, I think, the deeper areas and the deeper possibilities and thoughts about leadership itself. It was in that year that I settled the issue of commitment, and I settled the issue of direction. And I came out of that year, and to be honest with you, ever since I built on that commitment year of my life. The only reason I share that with you is because I have a tendency to think that perhaps in your life, you may be tempted to sometimes just kind of throw your hands up and quit. I'm not saying you should always keep doing what you're doing. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying don't cheat yourself out of the possibility of the potential that's on the other side of commitment. Stay with it long enough to find out if there's any fruit in it. I promise you this, you'll be glad you did. And I have found, and I think you will find also, commitment really is the key.
Let's start with a metaphor. I want you to think about your life like a book. A book is divided into chapters. Some chapters are boring and a grind to get through, and others are exciting and you hope they never end. And right now, you're in a chapter. Maybe this chapter of your life is a grind. It's overwhelming and unsatisfying, and you feel stuck reading it over and over again. Maybe you want to start a new chapter, but you don't know what the next chapter is about, and so you keep rereading the one you're currently in. Here's the greatest thing about life. You don't have to know where this next chapter is going. You just have to start writing it. I want you to envision a blank page. What do you want to write? What do you see for yourself? I don't want you to try to figure out what job or business you should write on that page. What belongs on that page are the dreams that you have for yourself and your life. And all that's required to start writing is to start saying yes instead of telling yourself no. Yes, you should start that podcast. Yes, you should go back to school. Yes, you should try to launch that business. Whatever it is that you've been doing, whether you're 3 years out of college and it's a job you can't stand from a major you hate, or it's a 20-year career that you're just burnt out on, or maybe you stepped away from the workforce to raise your kids, or perhaps like so many people right now, you've been laid off. This is the moment to write your next chapter. You're not too late. You're right on time. All you need is a blank page and a pen.
Don't think that because it hasn't happened, it won't happen. Sometimes it don't happen because you ain't ready. Sometimes it don't happen because the world ain't ready. Sometimes it don't happen because you're praying for the wrong thing. You're praying for less than you want, but you're asking what you think is available. You can't trick the universe like that. Sometimes it hasn't happened because the situation and the time ain't right. So if you're praying for something, working for something, waiting for something that hasn't happened, don't think that it won't happen. Just recharge and renew your vision. Some of us don't get what we want because we haven't renewed and recharged our vision.
What if? A lot of times I'll be in a 200-mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I start to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if I can be that guy that people who call nigger and this and that, and now I'm speaking at Tom Ferry's event.
Most people sign up for the goal, and this is my new awareness. They sign up for the goal and you focus on the goal and you get really, really committed to the goal, and then you gotta go through something to get to the goal, and then you sit the goal down. I'm gonna invite you, don't sign up for the goal, sign up for the inconvenience it's gonna cost you. Sign up for that. Sign up. I sign up every day to the inconvenience. The goal looks sexy, the inconvenience looks costly. But if you sign up for the inconvenience, then the goal will take care of itself. Every day say yes to whatever it takes, no matter what.
There's a direct correlation between celebrating your wins and wanting to do more of them. See, when I was broke, and I was broke longer than I've been rich, you know what I'd always do when I walk into a store? I'd never get what I wanted. I'd always check the price tag. What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? And when you're always looking at what it costs, you never get what you want. And a lot of us do that in our lives. Every day we're repeating to ourselves, what's this costing me? The sacrifice I'm going, I don't know if I can go through anymore. And you lose what you want. You gotta quit negotiating the price. Right now, make the decision that any price is worth it as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral for you to make your family proud of you, for you to make your dream happen. Stop negotiating the price. This negotiation you keep doing in your mind. Is this really where I'm supposed to be? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Steals all your energy. It steals your focus. But those of you that get laser focused, that become totally immersed in your dream, that know those babies of yours, your parents, guess what? They're worth the sacrifice.
I found a job I love. That's not how it works. Both of those things require hard work. You are in love because you work very hard every single day of your life to stay in love. You find a job that brings you ultimate joy because you work hard every single day to serve those around you, and you maintain that joy. It's not a discovery. But the problem is the sense of impatience. It's as if an entire generation is standing at the foot of a mountain. They know exactly what they want. They can see the summit. What they can't see is the mountain. This large, immovable object.
One of the things that happens, especially when you're starting out, is you write stories and you send them out. In my head, as a young man, whenever I would send out a story, what I would expect to have happen was the following morning, a limo would show up at my house and people would get out of it and they would say, "This is yours. We loved your story so much. You never have to work again. Just thank you. Thank you for writing this story, which we are going to publish and make sure everybody in the whole world reads." And instead, 6 weeks later, it would come back with a little slip saying, "Not quite right for us," or whatever. Really, I kind of dealt with it by just vowing to myself that, I would try and write things that were so brilliant that nobody could reject them.
In the beginning, everybody's excited. In the beginning, everybody's going to become a billionaire. In the beginning, everybody's going to conquer the world. But after a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years, they start to get tired. They start to get frustrated. They start to ask, why is this so hard? They start to ask, why is this so hard for me? And they think it's just them. And they think the whole fucking universe is coming down on them. And that's when people quit. And guys, we all feel that way. We all have times of frustration. We all have times of anger. We all have times of why me? Why is this so hard for me? But at the end of the day, guys, when you start feeling that massive frustration, that massive anger, that massive irritation and massive stress, you are about to have a breakthrough. And along your journey in becoming great at anything, you're going to have these curves appear over and over and over again.
Seed has to be planted. A seed got to have dirt put on top of it. If you take a seed and throw it on the concrete and walk off, the sun just burn it up. But guess what? Logically, in my mind, it doesn't make sense that to grow something, you should dig a hole, put it down in there, and cover it with dirt. Logically, that don't make no sense to me. But though. See, dirt is necessary for growth and development. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. Dirt makes you come with it when you don't feel like coming with it no more. And you get dirt in a lot of different ways. All of y'all that had dirt thrown on you. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody telling you you ain't gonna make it. It's somebody sharing information about you that ain't true. That everybody get dirt put on them. But see, when you getting put under that stress, please know God is always working. Kirk Franklin's song, God is always working, so I smile. Because I know he back there. See, that dirt builds character in you. When they talking about you, it teaches you to withstand it. Then it gives you something to push through. So when you put the seed and you put the dirt on it, if you understand stress, stress really ain't just dirt. Stress, see, they don't call it dirt when they plant it. They call it soil. Because, see, soil has nutrients in it. What the nutrients, when people talking about you, dogging you, lying on you, backbiting, stealing from you, talking about you, they're actually putting nutrients in you. They're building character. You got character now. Because now everything you see above ground that blossoms and plants and grows and that's beautiful, it was underground one time. See, you want to be successful, well, then you got to prove yourself. You got to push through the dirt.
To make changes in any organization, you have to have a measure of very high persistency. You've got to go on and on and on and on. If you don't have that persistency, very often you fall off just when success is around the corner.
You took the acting classes and stuff?
Yeah, I took acting classes. Even in my acting classes, I couldn't get a part.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean, that's the truth. That's
really?
the truth, yeah.
That, the much vaunted Twitter was a failure, a complete failure for 2 years. Nobody used it. And if they took the mindset of, well, if it doesn't work in 2 weeks, we got to go do something else, you never would have heard of it.
You know why people do what they do? The people who go after that stuff, what makes it worth it? It's got to be your passion. You got to love it, ladies and gentlemen. You got to love it. It's got to be what you are supposed to do. You want to sing, and even though they want to invite you to Carnegie Hall, you're going to sing to anybody that listen to you, including singing to yourself. I used to talk to my plants when nobody else would listen to me. You got to write, even if no one published your book, write, because that was given to you to do. You do what it is you're supposed to. You're supposed to build something. You're supposed to create something. I don't know how to do it. Learn. Do whatever is required. Just go out there. It's you. It's on you. You got to make that happen. Nobody's going to bring it to you on a silver platter and say, here's your dream manifested.
Perseverance is a hard work you do after you get tired of doing hard work you already did.
A champion is just one who can come out at the last minute and close the show. As they say, the star closes the show. A 14, 15 round fight, and it's even, and usually this champion, you can depend on him to come through at the last few seconds and find some energy from somewhere. Mark Spitz, this Olympic track star was mentioning, he wasn't that much greater than all the people in the world, but sometime he won by just that much.
And, you know, you just have to show up and show out so often. Time after time, you got to wake up and you got to drive. You got to be driven to go get something done now. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be willing to stand on your beliefs. Because a lot of times you're the only one who can see it. You dig? And other people, they don't see it really. But you got to really believe in what you got inside of you that's telling you and driving you to a certain goal for something.
I can dig.
Yeah.
You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. In the acting business, you fail all the time. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed, and I prayed. But I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're gonna get a haircut.
I love basketball so much. I love playing it. I just never thought that I could make it to college, NBA, or stand up here today in front of you guys and be an NBA MVP. So many people believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So many people doubted me and motivated me every single day to be who I am. I failed so many times and got back up. I've been through the toughest times with my family, but I'm still standing.
Every single champion is the same as every ordinary person. The only differential is that they show up to the event every single day. They see failure as a learning curve. They welcome failure. You learn more from failure than you ever will from success. So showing up and getting knocked on your ass, finding intestinal fortitude, stand back up and re-face that endeavor is going to be the overriding factor that makes a difference. How do you know when you're doing those things? The small things in life add up to those big monumental things. When I say the small things, it's a character building block, that your name means something. You hold value to your name. If you drop trash on the ground, you pick it up because that's your responsibility. You hold value to yourself. When you shake someone's hand, you look them in the eye, you give them a firm handshake because you're here for a purpose. Everything you do to the best of your ability. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it's the fact that you're doing it, so therefore it means something to you. Because, the title out there doesn't mean shit. You win the title, fine. That title will not get you another title. What you're trying to build is legacy.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
I've had a lot of people try to tear me down.
Sure.
But I'm here. And I've always been myself, and I've always wanted that, and I've been graceful, and I've tried to handle myself with as much class, and it's only because I know how hard I work. and I'm not going to let any of that get to me.
Then right from the beginning, you must, make up your mind. Oh, doesn't matter. Even may take millions of billions of eons. Doesn't matter. After all, what is the purpose of our life? The meaning of existence? Nothing. Utilize something positive. Then even days and months or eon, it is meaningful. Once you involve or dedicated or determined practice.
I watched my wife when she got diagnosed. I watched my wife have terrible days, and she probably missed 2 days of work the whole time she had MS. I watched her go to work, and I'm like, boo, why in the world would you get up and go to work? You don't even need the money. Why would you do it? It's cold. It's 10 degrees in Michigan, and your MS flare up when it's cold. What are you doing? She said, I can't see my daughter. I can't have my daughter see me weak. Because my daughter gonna be married one day. And my daughter gonna face tragedy one day, and I have to show her how to do it. And so I get up and get dressed, and I go to work every day so my baby girl can know how to get through trials, because one day she ain't gonna be under our roof, and she gonna have to do it alone. And I don't wanna talk, I wanna model what it looks like. And my daughter got on the prayer line. She was at prayer meeting the other day, told her testimony. She's like, yo, I ain't even feel like going to school. I ain't feel like walking a mile to go to class. And I thought about it. My mom got a chronic illness. And if my mom in her 40s can get up with a chronic illness and go to work, why surely I can get up at 18 years old and go to class. It worked. It worked.
One of the greatest, probably the greatest rock climber of his generation. As you know, I've been a climber most of my life. Tommy Caldwell, he's in a category of one. And I was out climbing with Tommy one day, and I said to him, Tommy, what makes you different? He has a record. He has 6 climbs on El Cap that have never been repeated. Okay, he is 10X in extreme environments. And I said, Tommy, what is it that you have? You're not necessarily more physically gifted. You're not necessarily stronger, right? You're certainly physically gifted, all those things, but you're not this incredible athlete that just was born this way. And in fact, he had lost a finger in an accident. He cut a finger off. And so he's doing this minus one of his main fingers. An important finger. And he thought about it for a long moment. He said, I can remain focused on and suffer for the big thing longer than anyone else. And I think that's what these people, the curiosity keeps them going, but once they get their hands on what they see as the thing, they don't let go. And they can stay with it and suffer for it.
One thing I've learned over the years from my coach is that the last one is the most important one. That's when you improve. So if you got 16, you're in 5, and you're tired, you're dying, you gotta even take a little bit more rest time, take 1 more minute and go. Because that's when you start improving. That's when the work pays off now, because your legs are dead and you gotta push your body. You gotta overcome. It's like you're moving past a barrier, moving a step forward. A lot of people just wanna stop because they're dead tired. But you gotta do that extra one, because that's when you improve.
You resign yourself to writing lots and lots of rubbish. You just got to write that out of your system, and sooner or later you'll hit what you really should be doing and what is your genre. And perseverance. You've got to persevere, because it's a career with a lot of knockbacks, but the rewards are huge. I don't mean in the sense that if that's what you really want to do, to be able to do it lifelong is the best thing in the world.
You need to have practiced, to have apprenticed for 10,000 hours before you get good. So every great classical composer, without exception, composes for at least 10 years before they write their masterwork.
Mozart, 10.
Mozart is composing at 11, but he's composing garbage at 11. I mean, he doesn't produce something great until he's 22 or 23. Concerto number 9, I think, 271.
Most people don't concentrate long enough on achieving their goals. So what happens? You don't achieve your goals. If you're focused on something and you do it every day consistently, you will eventually get results. But if you're constantly jumping from one thing to another, from one idea to another, from one activity to another, then you'll never actually accomplish what you're capable of. The problem isn't lack of creativity or ideas or genius, it's a lack of concentration. And if that's you, I want to fix it in this video today. So let's take a quick look at my YouTube journey. I started on YouTube over 10 years ago. It's crazy that it's been that long. And I wasn't very good when I started. Go back and watch my first videos. They're all still up there. I haven't deleted them. You can go back and watch every single one of them and see how much I sucked. I'm an introvert. This is not natural for me. It took a lot of concentration, a lot of focused effort, and 6,000 plus videos later, here I am. Why? Because I just kept going. Because I kept focused on my mission, on my objective. It took me 350 videos until I wasn't completely embarrassed by myself. 350 videos. I had to have my sister come into the room with the camera, focus on me, press record, and then leave because I couldn't film with her in the room. And that's my sister. How is this guy gonna be a YouTuber and be on stage and give speeches and be a thought leader and deliver presentations if you can't even do a simple video with your sister in the room? Concentration, focused effort. That's the key. It's been every single day we've been uploading videos. We've done 3+ videos a day for the past 5 years. Every single day. I've been sick, videos went up. I broke my neck in 2 spots, had a concussion, videos going up. I lost my voice, videos going up. All the time. Every single day for the past 5+ years, it's been at least 3 videos across my main channel now, my multiple channels. Concentration. I'm not very good at this. The point of all this isn't to brag or say, look at me. It's saying that I suck. That if I could do it, so can you. The difference is, I think a lot of you guys are way more talented than I am. I look at Alex, for example, who works for me at TDS. He's just so much more naturally gifted in front of the camera. He's funny, he's charismatic, a lot of the stuff that I'm not, and I've been slowly grinding away, getting better in front of the camera. So I think a lot of you guys are actually better than me, or better than what I was. And if you just kept going, if you just kept working on it, you would improve and you would have the results you're after. You're just not patient enough. You're not concentrating enough. You're not putting in the work every single day. This great story comes to mind that is great and sad at the same time. I was meeting a friend in Orlando, another influencer, 6 years ago or so. And we met up and he said, I'm gonna be the next Gary Vee. Like, okay, great. I love it. Pumped. Like, let's go. I'm just starting my YouTube career, really starting to take off, and he wants to be his thing, and he's going to be the next influencer. I love it. And then he posted something about a year ago or so, and he said, 5 years ago I met Evan at this place in Starbucks in Orlando, and I told him I was going to be the next Gary Vee, and he was on his career to build his YouTube channel. And fast forward now, and Evan's got 1.5 million subscribers, and I'm still kind of where I was because I didn't put in the work. And so that's what I don't want for you, right? He has talent. He's a genius. So are you. He just didn't do the 5 years of work that I did. And he's someone who's actually, I think, way more charismatic than I am. And so I don't want that for you. I want you to concentrate on your effort, which will then lead to results. And I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that you can follow to help you get there. Step number 1 is flip patience and impatience. People have this really messed up view on patience and impatience. I think people are often impatient with the results. So you want the results immediately. Human nature, you want it immediately, but you're very patient with yourself. If you look at what you're doing every day, like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. You get an idea, yeah, I'll start Monday. I'll start next week. I'll start next year. Fresh year, start off fresh, all that, right? No, you flip it. You flip it. You flip patience and impatience. What I want you to do is have patience with the results, that the results will come, and impatience with yourself, that today matters, today. You're watching this. I don't know what time it is during the day. You're watching this. Today matters. What you create today has to mean something. Because if you approached every day with massive impatience for yourself and your effort, and you did that every day, you did the work, that you were proud of yourself for your effort, I promise you that the results are going to come. But it will take some time to get to your big goals. you have big goals, right? You want to do something big. You have big ambitions. You don't want just some tiny little win. Awesome. That's going to take some time. Even if you're hustling and grinding and being proud of your effort every single day, it's going to take some time. So patience with the results and massive impatience with yourself. Number 2 is think big and act small. This is where I think a lot of entrepreneurs get tripped up. You need to think big and act small. So you have a big vision, a big mission, something that you want to go off and change the world. My big thinking is I want to solve the world's biggest problem, right? It's never going to happen in my lifetime. And yet I wake up every day trying to tackle it. You want to have a big vision. The problem with it though, for some people, is that it means you don't start. Because to make that big vision happen, you need money, you need investors, you need camera gear, you need equipment, you need a team, you need all this stuff, right? It just keeps adding up, all the stuff you need, and then you never start. That's the problem. The reason why some dummies are winning off of your idea instead of you is because they just started, because they acted small. So you think big, and that's the motivating dream that you're chasing down every day, and you act small. What's the smallest thing that I can do today just to start building momentum? Because momentum is the thing that is missing in most businesses. You have great ideas, you're a genius, you're talented, I love what you're trying to do, it's amazing. You need momentum. Momentum. Every single day, creating a little bit more momentum to make that dream come true. Think big, act small. And number 3 is schedule for success. Look at your calendar. Success is your habits, right? You want to make sure that your actions map to your ambitions. The actions that are in your calendar, if you did those things, would help you accomplish your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. So if you're talking about building a YouTube career, amazing. Show me in your calendar where every week you're making time to make YouTube videos. If you want to be an author, awesome, I'm pumped. Show me in your time, show me in your calendar where you've blocked it out that you're going to spend time writing on your book. Most people don't do it. And then you allow all these little things, these distractions to pull you away from the thing that you want to be doing. You have to put the big things into your calendar first and block off the time and protect that time and look at it from above, and not just your business, your personal stuff too. What's a good relationship look like? What's a good health situation for yourself look like, right? Habits. Put it in your calendar and then step above it and look at the week that you're about to go off and do. Look at your week ahead. If you did those things consistently, would it help you accomplish your goals? And for too many people, it's no. You're living in reaction mode to other people's emergencies, and then you never get to do the thing that you want to do. You got to defend your time. You schedule for success. So whatever your big goals are, whatever you need to concentrate on, you need to make sure you're spending an appropriate amount of time on it so that you get good at it, so you can start getting results and making the impact that you know you can make.
When you're at the major labels, you end up shooting a bunch of videos that has nothing to do with what you see for your song. You end up wearing clothes that you don't see yourself wearing while you're on red carpets and doing events and videos. You end up singing and working with a bunch of producers you don't want to work with. You get vulnerable because they're the ones cutting the checks. And if you disobey, then they may decide, I'm not paying for anything that you're excited about. You're going to do what I want. So going as far as I did, I mean, everything for me down to the album packaging. Like my album packaging would look different if I was at a label, because everything is about the opinion. There is no opinion. It's my opinion. It's visions that God sent me, and I'm obedient to the vision, and I play no games. I will run you over if you get in the way.
People who are successful have extraordinary imaginative vision, and Elon Musk calls it a more complicated term, which is arguing from first causes, not analogy. So here's what arguing from analogy or not having extraordinary imaginative vision. Let's say you're in a horrible place. You were sleeping in your arguing car. I was sleeping on a couch. Someone born in ghetto, someone born in poor part of India. If you argue from, arguing from analogy means, well, everybody around me is doing bad. Right. I'm doing bad. Therefore, I'm gonna always do bad. That's arguing from analogy, and that's not having imaginative vision. The people who make it are the people who do the opposite. They go, I'm gonna argue from first causes. I'm gonna say, has anybody ever risen up from the ashes out of the ghetto or from the couch or from the car? The answer is we all know that story. So if somebody else did it, then if you use extraordinary creative imagination, then why can't you do it too? And that's arguing from first causes. That's what allowed Elon Musk to make Tesla, spaceships, Solar City. So for all of us, we get stuck when we argue from analogy. Well, you know, last time I started a business, it failed. Last time I trusted somebody, they betrayed me. Well, that's good. That's arguing from analogy. That's just saying because it happened before, it's going to happen. It doesn't always work that way.
I think, if everything starts with a thought. I mean, everything that you do in your life, you have to have a thought before you initiate an action, right? So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, like any great leader in history understands that, the first thing you have to do is you have to decide, are you going to be defined by a vision of the future, or are you going to live by the memories of the past? So, I'll give you an example. Most people wake up in the morning, and your brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact of everything you've learned and experienced to this moment, right? It's a memory bank. So most people wake up in the morning and they start thinking about their problems, and those problems are connected to certain people and things at certain times and places. And the moment they start turning on those circuits, those memories are actually causing them to think in the past. Every single one of those memories has an emotion associated with them, and emotions are the end product of past experiences. So then the moment they recall the event, or they recall some problem in their life, they start feeling unhappy, they start feeling discouraged, they start feeling anxious. Now, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So we could say then, most people's entire state of being when they start their day is in the familiar past. Well, if you live in the familiar past, then it makes sense you're going to create the predictable future. So what happens for most people is they get stuck in their biology. So think about this. Your body is your unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between an experience in your life that creates an emotion and an emotion that you can create by thought alone. So if you're living by the same emotion every single day, and those emotions are influencing your thoughts, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, you're thinking in the past. Your lens of the future is going to be colored by the past, so you can't see possibilities. So most people like to wait for crisis or disease or diagnosis before they wake up enough to see. Well, the challenge is that biology tends to be redundant. So if you keep thinking the same thoughts, and those thoughts begin to fire certain circuits in your brain, the nerve cells that fire together wire together, so all of a sudden you start getting hardwired, and those are the thoughts that you can think the easiest. At the same time, those thoughts produce chemicals called emotions, and the next thing you know, your body gets accustomed to living by the same emotions, and it could be guilt, it could be unhappiness, it could be pain, but at least it's familiar to you, at least you can predict it. So some people would rather cling to the familiar than take a chance in possibilities. So for most people then, they say, well, I don't really see how my thoughts have anything to do with my destiny. Well, that's because 95% of those thoughts are subconscious programs, right? So you're not even conscious that you think those thoughts. So the first step to change is starting to think about what you've been thinking about and change it. And then when you begin to observe those thoughts, you're no longer the program, you're the consciousness observing the program.
Just simply by being an observer of your thoughts.
Right, so most people though, when you do that, when you decide to really take a look, it's like lighting a match in a dark place. So you feel uncomfortable. So it's easier to turn on your TV, it's easier to play with your cell phone, to distract yourself from those feelings. Well, when you understand that change really requires becoming uncomfortable to a certain degree, and that's normal, that you're leaving the known and you're stepping into the unknown, then it begs the question, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? Because your attention on those thoughts begins to reorganize circuitry, remold the brain.
Thomas Alva Edison once made a very nice statement. He said, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. We may have an inspiration in our heart, that 1% strong, burning inferno of an inspiration. But unless that inspiration is put into action, dedicated, committed, hard work, that 99% perspiration, we are not going to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. And so also, when we talk about dealing with our bad habits, success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. We need that inspiration, but based on the foundation of that inspiration, we have to put in dedicated, committed, hard work, that 99% perspiration. What's amazing is that 99% perspiration is based on the foundation of that 1% inspiration. If the foundation of a building is in place, The very first thing that we make when it comes to building a structure, a house, a beautiful edifice or a mansion, is we put the foundation in place. If the foundation is in place, if it's strong and robust, then all the building blocks, the bricks, the cement, the mortar, the steel can go on and form a beautiful structure for us to live in, for us to dwell in. And so also, that 1% inspiration is the foundation of that 99% perspiration. Imagine if you're very inspired to change, if you're very inspired to give up some of your bad habits, but you don't put that hard work, that 99% perspiration, what good is that inspiration? Or imagine if you keep putting 99% of perspiration, that hard work, that effort, that dedicated commitment, but if you don't have that inspiration to do it in the right direction and sustain it and get it a higher shelf life, what good is that hard work and perspiration? Therefore, success comes by a balance of the two. Inspiration, which acts as the foundation, and perspiration, which acts as the building blocks to build upon that foundation. I once read a very interesting Japanese proverb. It said, action without vision is a nightmare. If you simply keep acting without having the right vision, the result is a nightmare. And it said, vision without action is a daydream. If you simply have a vision and you don't act upon it, all you have as a result is a daydream. I have rephrased it for our discussion here today. Perspiration without inspiration is a nightmare. But inspiration without perspiration is a daydream.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag Believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. If you want to watch some of the most amazing motivational speeches of this year, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
They realized that they would have to build somewhat of a vehicle or mode of transport to get to the other side. They started to get a log, and they thought maybe that was enough.